I don't know all the details of what happened with Rashawn, but I think about 3 weeks ago, we got word that that he got that he was murdered. I was devastated. I said, man, now it's 46 kids I've lost to violence in the streets of Newark.
That was Bashir Akinyele, a history teacher from Newark's South Ward Public High School, Weequahic. And you heard him correctly, 46 of his students over the past 20 years have been killed on the streets of Newark due to gun violence and violence in general.
Lack of things to do after school, lack of parental supervision, is it a combination of things?
It's a combination of a lot of things. The biggest one is poverty, all right, joblessness, drugs, high incarceration rates of black men and now black women. Black women now dominate the prisons.
Hotep, that means peace.
It's one of the oldest words for peace. I greet my students when they come in, Hotep, peace, right? And when they leave, I say, Hotep, peace.
Bashir is also the co-founder of the Newark Anti-Violence Coalition as well. Now, we got into my car and drove to a memorial for Rashawn, a 16-year-old sophomore student gunned down just 10 blocks away from the high school on May 30th of this year.
It's just really, it's just sad to see. You see these things everywhere in cities like Newark or New York City or Chicago, LA, East St. Louis.
So on the ride, we talked about so many lost. There's simply no way of telling the troubled kids, which I asked him, do you see anybody that you maybe think that you can save? He's like, no, there's no science to this. There's no, people that are completely innocent are lost on the streets and crossfire and are in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is what happens a lot.
I'm talking about babies, man. You're talking about 5 and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds. The streets will lure them in when you don't have mentoring programs, or you come from dysfunctional families, you come from, poverty-stricken neighborhoods, drug-infested neighborhoods, you begin to become, desensitized to the violence early, because you see it early, man. So,
there is a science to it. It's called public safety and economic opportunity. And it's fine that he wants to throw out a compliment to Ross Baraka, but to ignore what's happened in Newark over the past couple decades, you've had a succession of awful leadership.
Baraka has done a lot in the city of Newark. He's created safe zones in places that there aren't. He's also created 24-hour safe watches and people from the streets to watch.
Well, it's not as unpreventable as this teacher's saying. Yes, it is unfortunate, wrong place at the wrong time, but I've seen this similar situation in Brownsville, in New York City. A principal, she actually created a school to help these kids, and some of the tactics that she's used is that, for example, she keeps these kids busy so that when school's over, they can't just go home, because that's when the drug dealers, the gangs are waiting for them. She would actually keep them at the school, studying more, doing more homework, just hanging out in the hallways, just staying safe. And when there's a shootout outside, she locks down her school. She takes it personally. It's her whole life.
He deserves more than lip service from the politicians. He deserves some action. Thanks.